so that you can actually unpack what you have heard from the front. But we're going to make sure that that we are a church that opens up the Bible and that processes it together, right? That it's authoritative, that it is the key to our lives, and that it's the easiest way for us to understand Jesus. The next format is worship. That's the next vital sign for us. So within this, I actually wrote my thesis on this, of this a lifestyle of worship. So every avenue of your life is a form of worship, and God has created us all very differently, and we worship Him through a variety of different avenues. Of course, predominantly through church history, singing has been like that form of worship, but we want people to know that you worship through every avenue of your life. And I've got a great context within my life. When I moved from vocational ministry to the marketplace, I realized very quickly that I could worship Jesus just as well on the sales floor, making cold calls, as I could when I was writing a message for youth ministry, because Jesus has called us to be worshipful through every avenue of our life. The fourth vital sign is unity. So we are, like we've said, we want to remain a mid-sized church, and what that means is absolutely inviting people that have different gifts to be a part of the ministry. So when we have these introducing Imprint classes with Imprint, I kind of get a little bit bold, because I say, if you're going to show up to our church, expect to be asked to serve, because we need you. We believe that God calls people to Imprint for a reason, because there's a missing piece in what He wants us to do, and you're part of that. So as far as the unity of the body, we want everyone to lean in. We don't want people just to show up to church. We want them to participate in what Jesus is doing through our ministry. So unity is a huge part of what we're about. Okay, halfway through. Prayer. Prayer is an important part, right? We need to cover everything with prayer. So we have prayer teams, we have prayer partners, we have people that their gifting falls in that, but we want to be a community that prays. And as part of our elder meetings, as part of our lead team meetings, prayer is a huge part, and oftentimes we'll stop mid-sentence. We'll say, we need to pray. We need to pray about that, because right now we're just talking, and we're leaning into what we think we should do. So we are a community that one of our vital signs is prayer. Generosity, right? This is a no-brainer, seeing what Darren said within our story. But we do want to be a church that's seen as generous, and especially to people that don't attend church, or definitely that don't attend our church, but don't attend church in general. So we want to be known as a community of people that are generous. So when we're looking at our budget, when we're looking at our ministries, we have to go through that lens of, are we being generous or self-seeking through anything that we do? Witness. Witness is another one of our signs. Of course, within our lives, we want to be known as people that love Jesus through our actions, but we also want to make sure that people that attend Imprint, and especially us, that we are people of witness, that we're actually verbally sharing the gospel with people, that we earn the right through our actions, but we're bold and we believe in what we say, so it has to fall out of our mouths, right? We have to be able to witness and tell people about Jesus, and we need to train people up on how to do that and how to utilize the testimony that God's given them to tie that to the gospel. And then finally, the eighth one that we didn't have for a long time that we now do, because it was a huge missing piece for us, is love. We want to be known, and we need to have that as a vital sign, that we are known as people that love. And these can be loving people that completely disagree with us, loving people through disagreements and times of challenge, but also loving each other in a way where we're challenging. We're lifting each other up. If we see that there's an area potentially of sin or of struggle in someone's life, loving them through challenging them too. So we want to be known as a community of love. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how we view health within the church.
What's next in the QR?
Yeah, I don't. Usually at this point, we kind of give some what's next things for people, and telling them, get involved, serve, jump in a group. All of those things is part of our traditional introducing Imprint time, and it gives people a next step, a really practical thing for how to get involved. We don't have a formalized membership at our church, so what that means is we tell people who feel like they are members of our church to come and talk to one of our elders or leads and tell us we're a member. And then we say, well, are you serving somewhere? Are you part of a group somewhere? Are you giving to the community? Like, that makes you a member, not just because you signed a document that says you're a member. Being a member of a church is actually contributing to the church. And so we don't want people just to be bystanders, of course. We want people to actually press in. So those are some of the pieces that we offer to people who are wanting to be a part of the community of Imprint. So I think what we'll do now is just turn it over to you guys to say, what kind of questions do you have about us? I don't know all that you've gone through. We've spent a lot of time with Lee and Pastor Mark, of course, over the last few months. But we're up for talking about anything. There's no secrets here or anything like that. So, oh, yes, yeah.
I was just going to say, we have a lot of programs here that are very successful programs. And what will happen to these programs? Will we just roll it out?
So the question was, you guys have lots of programs at Kenmore that are really successful and doing really well. We've actually heard some of the stories about these things, which is really cool. Like whether it's ESL stuff or some of the things, and women's lunch, other things that are going on. That's super fantastic. I think those are great things. I think with the context of what we would do is, as a church, I think there is a level of wanting you guys to understand, like, what is God calling us to in this next season of our life? Is it the same thing we've always been doing, or is it something different entirely? And so, not saying that everything would change entirely, but certainly with this, and kind of the model that we're looking at here, is that there would be a culture change at Kenmore to Imprint Church. And I won't lie to you, that'll be hard for some of you. It really will be. And I could talk to you about my own story, what that looks like, and how difficult some of those things are. And so the answer is, I don't know what would happen to some of the programs and stuff that are going on right there. I can say that we want to invite people who are part of the ministry of the church to do ministry in the church. And we have a track record at Imprint Church of people coming up to us and asking us to do certain ministries, and then we actually fund them sometimes. We actually give them the ability to do it. A good example is this. A lady came up to us a few years ago who had stage 4 cancer, and God healed her. It's an amazing story. I wish I could tell the story more. Her name's Rosanna. And Rosanna came up to us and asked us if we could run a cancer kind of ministry for people who are dealing with cancer in their own lives or in the lives of their loved ones. And our elders are like, we would have never thought of any such thing on any given day of the week. So what is this? But you're passionate about this. You're excited about this. And so let's give you a chance. Let's give you a chance to try this. And so we, as a church community, we promoted it. We talked to people. We even gave her some money to it, didn't we? I think we did. We continue to give her money for it. So she brought this to us. We didn't create the program. She brought this to us. And we said, let's make this happen. Now, if it continues to happen, that's a great thing. Some of the things may not happen and we don't. And I think our track record would be, we'd want to invite you as part of the church, if you become part of Imprint Church, to bring to us the things that are valuable to you. You actually might find that Imprint Church has things that fit some of those needs already. And if we don't, God might be calling you to lead some of those things in the context of our church. So.
I'm not a lady.
Yeah, I don't go to women's retreat. I know, I get that. Yeah. That's coming up in January. I don't want to do that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Darren nailed it with there would be a culture change. Kenmore Community Church has a culture and does things in a particular way. Imprint Church also has a culture and does things in a particular way. But what I've observed is that the people that are part of a particular location, Imprint Bothell or Imprint Woodinville, influence the culture of that location, and then that location influences the shared culture of the one church. And so sometimes there are things that are very organic, like that cancer ministry, and they stay organic. And there are other things that start organic, often at one of the locations, but they become more organized for the one church in both locations. And so the people of the church influence what we do together, and that would hold true if you guys decide to become a part of Imprint. Yes?
Does Imprint own any buildings such as this church kind of building? In other words, have you dealt with ownership and all the maintenance things and
Yeah,
all
thank
the-
you for asking that. So our property that we have in Woodinville is leased. We don't own it. We have a landlord. He used to operate a truck driving school, and we called ourselves the church in the truck driving schools. Very glitzy for people out there. It's not, I'm kidding. It's not glitzy at all. And he still leases it to us.
Oh.
Our space in Bothell, we were originally leasing, and so that's been a part of our story, is that we were just excited to lease the building, but the church that had owned it dissolved, and right around the time that they were dissolving, they decided to pay off their mortgage with what was left in the bank account, and then they gifted Imprint the building. So we own and have to oversee a facility in Bothell that's worth $4 million and needs a lot of deferred maintenance. And so thank God for guys like Mark on our team who just understand properties, and Curtis who's a finished carpenter and can do a lot of work and understands a lot of those things. So we do have a lot of work in facilities that Jenny Bossio in particular, our executive lead, oversees the facilities, and so she kind of manages. I mean, she's mainly the staff person over our facilities, but then she has kind of an army of volunteers